if I've got home, get home from work, get my swimming gear ready, have a quick bite, nothing much, just like, I don't know, little snack. Flapjack, something like that. Just a bit of snack because I know I'm going swimming for an hour. I get to the pool, after about 10-15 minutes swimming up and down, I start burping. And it's like, and I wonder if the people in the next lane can hear me burping, even though I'm burping underwater. It's quite weird, burping underwater.
Hello and welcome to the Full Distance
podcast. Thanks very much to everyone who's tuned in so far. We've been a bit overwhelmed really with comments, questions that people have sent in.
We've had nearly 500 views on the first video.
On the first one, which is great, a lot more than we thought. So who knows how far it's going to go. We'll just keep going with it, and if there's things people want us to talk about, we'll talk about them. Still from the point of view of a novice to someone who's obviously not a novice. So yeah, we'll have a bit of a roundup of what we've been doing since the last one.
We've had a few questions sent in from last time as well, so that starts on a few talking.
Yeah, so we've
topics.
got a few topics on we to discuss as well. So roundup wise.
So what have you been up to since the last
You just interrupted me there. I was just like...
I thought you might have liked to be asked.
Well, you were there as well.
I know, very true.
So what have I been doing?
Yeah, what have you been doing?
Well, we, on 21st of May, was it?
Yeah.
We did the Velo 29 Tour of the Peak in the Peak District, which was my first ride over 100 miles or 100 mile ride.
112 miles in total.
I think I clocked 115 or 16.
Did you get lost?
No, I didn't get lost. Me and Craig got lost. And we didn't. Me and Gemma just missed one of the feed stations because we were chatting probably. Yeah, that was... I'm glad I've done it. I wanted to get 100 miles under my belt. I needed to know in my head I could do 100 miles. And to do it in the Peak District with, what was the feet of climbing?
Over 10,000 feet of climbing.
It was...
11?
More, 12,500 feet of climbing.
16.
I don't think it was. 28. It was a long day for me. And I'm not going to lie, after about 80 miles, 85 miles...
You looked a little broken.
I just thought, I don't know whether I can do this. I've still got a long way to go and a lot of climbing to do. And yeah, but when we got to the last feed station, which was about 90, just over 90 miles, had something to eat and felt all right. Craig then made me feel better by saying, there's a nice steady climb out of this village, nice, steady. And after that, it's just rolling. And we set off, and you two had gone, obviously, and me and Gemma set off, and I'm not kidding you, I don't think I've ever seen a road as steep in my life. And I've been up Buttertubs and places like that, but we started going up, and I thought, this is getting steep, and then it just went like that. It was like going up a wall. And the only reason I didn't get off and walk, because Gemma didn't get off, so thanks, Gem, because if she'd have stopped, I would, but because she carried on pedalling, I did.
We saw a lot of people walking up there, so well done.
It was, the last sort of 10 miles was nice. It was nice and rolling, the last 10 miles back to Bakewell. But yeah, it was a tough day, but it was a nice one to tick off so that it's done. It's in the bank. I know I can do it now.
You looked a little bit broken at 80 miles. I think that was the last feed station.
I was a little bit broken on the way home.
But we were missing Chris's moaning, weren't we?
Yeah, because Chris didn't go. And he'd have been moaning all the way around, and that would have been quite funny, really.
Take your mind off you.
We all missed it, didn't we? Miss Chris's moaning. So that was decent one. And then, 2 weeks after, first weekend of June, we went to the Lake District, didn't we? Mm-hmm. We went to Keswick and spent a weekend up there. There was a gang of us went up there.
There was Phil, Nick, Chris and his family came.
Yeah.
Soph, Shawnee, Claire, Hinchy and Mel.
Yeah.
So we did the reason for the weekend was we were doing the Ullswater swim.
We were.
So your first long distance swim and a perfect opportunity for you to do a recce of the bike route for your up and coming at the time Lakesman.
Yeah, which didn't go according to plan, did it?
No. It's poor preparation.
Well, Mel had an issue with her bike before we'd even set off, so they had to go to a bike shop in Keswick to get that fixed. We, us slower ones, then set off. But they caught us up while I was repairing a puncture, or trying to repair a puncture.
Blue job.
It's not until you get to that point that you get your tube and you realise that the valve isn't long enough to go because you're on your TT bike, and it's not long enough to go through the rim. And no one else had a tube until Soph rocked up and saved the day. Thanks, Soph. So she gave me the only tube that she had.
Between you all, wasn't
Between
it?
us all. I got about another 10 miles and then got another puncture in the front tyre. So we then took that out and put a patch on that Claire had donated. Thanks, Claire. And that lasted another 2 miles and that went down. So I'd then run out of options. So I had to ring the AA, didn't I? Yeah. Ali's assistants. Who came and picked me up from a lay-by on the A595.
Yeah, fortunately for you, I was having a nice little walk around doing water.
You were, and you had to cut that short, didn't you, to come and fetch me. But I did recce the part of the route that I needed to do, because the Lakesman route is obviously quite a fast route, but there's a 10-mile loop that goes off through some villages, which I needed to do just to see what it was like, see whether I needed to change the gearing on my TT bike.
So what did you take from that day? What did you learn?
Be prepared. Obviously not like a Boy Scout, I wasn't that day. I think everybody, or at least all of us in that first group, realised then that, whoa, none of us have got the right tube, we're desperately short of gear, so that it could have been if it had been a race, it would have been a complete disaster.
What else did you learn around pumping your tyres up?
Yeah, well, we had a pump and we had gas canisters, and I'd never used a gas canister before, so that was interesting. So I managed to get about half the first canister in, and then used another one, but not a lot of that went in, but it was enough. But we had a pump, which all it seemed to want to do was unscrew the valve out your tyre when you took it off, so that wasn't great. So it was, a bit more practice and preparation required. So it was good that it happened then. Yeah, but an interesting day. So I only got 32 miles done of the 56, but the rest of them did it, or did different routes. But yeah, leading on, that led then on to the Sunday. Oh, after a lovely night.
Don't forget about the main event.
I was just going to say the main event, which was Keswick Beer Festival, which we all went to.
So that weekend, we obviously in the Lake District, when you book an event, you always run the risk of crap weather. It's the lakes, it's going to rain. So to be blessed with wall-to-wall sunshine, blue sky was amazing, wasn't it? So fortunately for Mel, she's a previous attendee of the Keswick Beer Festival and suddenly found out that it was happening the weekend that we were going. So
which was a shame.
Yeah, so we all bought tickets and on a Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah, went and tried some weird and wonderful local beers.
Saw some bands.
Some better than others, live music on, a lot of people there. It was a good night, wasn't it?
And it was the same location of where the finish line was for the Lakes.
It was, so nice bit of a look round.
Yeah.
So we had a good night at the beer festival. Which set us up nicely for a 3.8k open water swim the next morning at Ullswater.
That's what you need after drinking quite a few rare beers and going for a swim the next day.
A warm Ullswater.
Yeah, so
19.4 degrees.
Yeah, so last time I swam in Ullswater was 2019.
When you did
Hell Valley Triathlon. So
yeah.
I think that was my first or second open water swim. It was beautiful, so I'd kind of prepped myself up. I knew what I was already going for, so I was quite excited. So, but then to get to Ullswater for the swim, and we were told, what was it?
19.4, I think they said.
It was like a bath.
Yeah, it was very warm. Not as clear as I thought it was going to be, because everyone kept saying it's really clear.
I think it was the heat.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
But the first time that I'd swum 3.8k, because I've never done that in a pool. I've done 3k in a pool, but never done 3.8. And obviously the first time I swum any distance like that in open water. So I was a bit apprehensive. Went off in the second wave. Few fast ones obviously. You all went in the first wave, out in the second wave. But it was 3 laps. So in my head I just said, I've got 3 laps to do. I'll do a lap. If I'm a bit tired or I'm a bit panicky, I'll stop and have a minute and then get going again. But I felt all right after the first lap, so I carried on. And I felt all right after the second lap, so I carried on. I got cramp. Oh, man. No, I didn't. Not like the man at... no, that's a different story for another time. I was on the last, well, like if you want to call it the back straight, before you turn at the bottom and then come towards the finish. And I felt my left calf cramping up. And I thought, I need to get rid of this because I'm going to have to stand up in a few minutes and get out of the water. And if I've got a cramp as bad as this, I'm not going to be able to do it. So I had to swim with one foot obviously stretched out flat, my right one, and my left one, I had to pull it down to get rid of the cramp while I was swimming, which was quite weird, but it did work. And after probably 100 metres, 200 metres, I felt it start to go. So I kept doing it every now and again and it got rid of it. So I managed to get out where I expected all my mates to be waiting for me because it was my first big open water swim. And I got out and crossed the timing mat and there was nobody there. Was there?
No, we were stood there.
You were, by the time you rocked up, I already had my medal. Thank you very much to Epic Events, a lovely medal, thanks for that. I've never had a medal for swimming before, so I just thought I'd bring it.
Where's that lived ever since?
That lives, well, it lives upstairs. So, yeah, no one was there to meet me, which was a bit disappointing. But all in all, I was just glad I'd done it. I did it a little bit quicker than I thought I would.
10 minutes quicker?
10 minutes quicker, so that was good. I felt comfortable all the way around. I think because, even though obviously it was a race, I went off in the second wave, so it was a little less competitive. So I think that made it a bit easier. I started at, for anybody who's not swimming open water before with a lot of people, it is quite daunting, especially if you're not confident, and I'm not confident particularly in water. So I positioned myself to one side at the back, and when they sounded the hooter for us to go, I literally just counted to 5 and then set off, because that then left me a little gap in front. And it was surprising how everybody sort of spread out, and I managed to sort of weave my way through people quite easily. So the start bit I was a bit worried about, but that was all right. And then it was quite good after that. It was quite difficult to sight going one way, because on the second lap I think the sun had started to come up a bit, and I turned the buoy and all of a sudden had the sun in my eyes and couldn't see where I was going, which made it quite interesting, but all good practice. But yeah, it was a nice swim, well-run event, and I'm glad that I did it and I've now ticked it off.
Well done. So that was one tick off, and then what else have you been up to this month?
What have I been up to this month? Well, I've done some other stuff as well. Are you not reading your notes?
Me?
Yeah, you're not reading your notes. Underneath where it says Epic Events Ullswater Swim, are you not reading it?
Sorry.
Oh.
So,
can't be a bit of prep, can you?
Before this episode, a couple of people sent in some questions.
Did they?
Yes.
Oh, really? Oh, well spotted.
So Adeline and Chris, who live around the corner from us.
Who do, they have done some triathlons, I don't know how many, but I know they've done...
We seem to like turn up at different triathlons. Windermere
they've done before, haven't they? We know that, yeah.
Yeah, done very well. They've asked a question. This is for you.
Ooh.
So, are you planning on doing a middle distance or a 70.3 race before you do Ironman Wales?
Well, funnily enough, Chris, I've already done one last weekend, and also I have another medal. Thank you very much. There's the medal. Nice piece of slate from the Lake District. So last week.
You wear it.
No, I'm not wearing them. It's a bit heavy. I'm not used to medals. So last weekend we went back to the lakes again, where I did the Lakesman Half. So a big step up for me from one sprint triathlon to then doing a middle distance. So for those of you who don't know what the distances are, that's a 1.2 mile swim, which is in Derwent Water, 56 mile bike, which was mainly the A66, A595 out to Workington and back, and then a half marathon. So a bit of a step up, but I've done the training. The swim was a bit more daunting because obviously it's a bit more competitive because everybody's racing. You're not sat in the group at the back who are just there for a gentle jog out. So the swim was the first bit was awful. It was like swimming in gravy.
What time did you set off?
6:10 in the morning the swim start was. So we got up at 4. Had breakfast. Well, I did. And then we walked to the start, didn't we? Which was about 1.5 miles. Walked to the start. And then you were on spectator duties then. 6:10 in for the swim. I was in the second wave of the swim because I was sort of on the cusp of, I think it was a 40-minute. If you're under 40 minutes for the first wave, over 40 minutes, and I'm about 40. So, but the water's really low in Derwent Water, so it was churned up a lot. So you couldn't see. I literally put my head in the water, stuck my hand in, and couldn't even see my hand, and it was there. And it was like that for probably the first 200 or 300 metres until it started to clear as the water got deeper. I panicked a bit. I'm not going to lie. I think partially because of the water and the amount of people that were around me, because I sort of found that as I got swimming, I was catching people up quite a lot and trying to get around them, which I didn't have at Ullswater. So that put me off a bit, so it affected my breathing. I started to panic a little bit, not too much, but just, so I had to just, alter my breathing just to get my breathing right and calm down a bit. So it probably took me half of the run out maybe 3/4 of the run out before I actually got settled down and got into a rhythm. After that, it was all right. It was nice to get out of the swim, I must admit. To actually get out and go, oh, that's done.
I think it was quite a good swim exit that you had as well for like preparation as far as
it was quite rough.
It was quite a bit of a grading that you had to run up, so it wasn't and quite a distance.
And I'd say when you were actually coming out of the water, it was quite rocky. There was people, marshals there, were actually helping you get onto the matting because you couldn't see anything.
So I think from experience from knowing what you're going to do, I think it's really good experience because at Wales, you start at the beach.
Yeah.
And then you obviously then zigzag your way up the path.
Yeah, and it's quite a long run.
And then you've still got to run.
To transition. Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah.
It was good little practice.
It wasn't.
It makes you understand how it feels as well. Because it's weird getting out of the water and thinking, I've got to run.
Yeah, because...
take your wetsuit off, but you were lucky, weren't you, didn't they?
They actually unzipped your wetsuit for you as you got out, which was quite good. And I'll tell you what helped me as well coming in. We'll talk a bit more when we get on to training in a bit, but because I've been working away from home, I've been swimming during the week at Rutland Water.
You don't really want to come home anymore, do you?
I do, honestly. Yeah, because we have liquid aloha. We don't have that when I'm working there. So I've been swimming with Inspired to Try, Mary and Darren, who run a swimming class in Rutland Water, an open water class, which is not just turn up and swim, it's actually a coach session where you're doing drills and all sorts of open water stuff to get you used to, swimming around buoys, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot more to it than that. But one of the things we worked on the week before was actually getting out of the water. And a lot of people don't use their legs much, do they, when they're swimming open water, because
You've got to use legs on the bike.
You've got to use legs on the bikes. There's no point wearing them out, so save your legs. But what they were teaching us to do was, on the way in, on the last sort of 50 metres in, kick your legs as hard as you can to get a bit of blood in them and get them used to moving again for that bit where you've then got to stand up and get out of the water, which I did. Because it's a bit weird sometimes when you stand up and you go, oh, I'm not used to standing up, mate. You've been sort of laid down flat for 40 minutes or whatever. So yeah, that did help a bit, I think. But it was, yeah, a bit weird running barefooted, I must admit, because I do cry like a baby if I tread on a stone.
You even said to me, like, oh, can I leave my flip-flops on the side so I can put them on
yeah,
my
Well, yeah, I'm trying to look
get
for
on with it.
any advice. Yeah, no, but I have got like baby feet. If I tread on a stone, I start crying, and they're a bit.
There was a guy that actually carried his trainers up.
Did he?
Yeah. He obviously thought, oh, I can wear my trainers.
Yeah. Well, well, he should have. I hope he put talc in them.
That was quite funny.
So I was glad to get out the swim. Transition was all right. I didn't panic, didn't rush. Went into transition, got my bag, wetsuit off, got my bike gear on, put everything away, hung my bag up. Remembered where I put my bike. Transition, you had to remember where you put your bike because you didn't rack by number. So it was just a free for all. So you just racked your bike where you wanted. So I had to keep going back and checking where it was. Because when I went back after the race to get my bike, I couldn't remember where I put it. When I came in for the run, I just dumped it and then couldn't remember where it was. The bike went really well. Faster than I thought it was going to be. Quite a bit faster than I thought it was going to be. I was expecting about 3. I did the swim in 41 minutes, which was about where I thought. I thought about 40. The bike, I was thinking 3 hours 15. I did it in 2:47.
Yeah.
So I was like half an hour quicker than I thought.
What was that average? 19?
19 points per mile an hour average, which is good for me because I'm not that fast.
We're proud of that. It's a good bike.
So that was good. The run, and my legs were just dead on the run. I just couldn't pick them up. I couldn't get my hips going. I just couldn't. I was just trying to concentrate on lifting my knees all the time, but I just seemed to be shuffling. I shuffled for the first lap, and then the second lap was better because I was making a conscious effort to sort of try and keep my core up, strong, head up, shoulders back, and that did help on the second lap, and I was a bit faster on the second lap and felt better. But then the third lap, I was tired, fell over, had a bit of a stumble. I wasn't looking for attention, it was one of them. It was part of the run was off-road on a track, and I just caught my foot off a stone that was sticking up and went down like a sack of the proverbial,
We all thought that you would.
But I got helped up by a pirate, thanks to the pirate who helped me up. It wasn't somebody in fancy dress who was doing the triathlon. There actually is there's a tri club, isn't there, who have skull and crossbones on their dry suits.
Yeah, there's a picture of you.
And he helped me up. And so we actually ran together for a bit and had a bit of a chat. He was a nice bloke. I didn't get his name, but he was a lovely fella. Yeah, good. So yeah, I had. So there's a picture of me. I think Jack was panicking because he thought I was dehydrated.
Yeah, we thought you were overheating.
It looked like I had a lot of salt. I'd sweated a lot of salt out all over my back and my arm, but I hadn't. It was dust from.
Because Jack had just seen you and we'd missed you when we got to the finish line, and we just missed you. And I said, "Oh, how did he look? He's not hot."
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Dusty, I think.
There's a lot of salt, but then it turns out it was actually salt. Dust.
It was dust, and there was quite a lot of it.
He had a poorly knee.
And I'd just like to say as well, I had a handful of jelly beans at that point. And when I went down, I didn't let go of the jelly beans.
Oh, well done.
I kept hold of them because I thought the jelly beans are keeping me going here on this run. I cannot. As I went down, I thought, don't drop the jelly beans, and I didn't, which was good because when I got back up, I started eating them again.
So it's good that you mentioned jelly beans because one of the topics we're going to discuss in more detail today is about nutrition.
Yes.
That was a big learning curve for you in the lakes one as well, wasn't it? So
massive. It was because things that you do in training that you think work, certain foods that you eat, certain things that you drink, you think, yeah, that's me, that's sorted. When it gets to a race, it's completely different. I struggled to get any food on board, so I've obviously now made a decision that is not the way to go. Drinks are fine, that's good. I'd just like to say as well that our little bit of, we did some training, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
We did a little bit of discarding a bottle and grabbing a new bottle. I don't know whether people actually think about this when they're novice, but my wife did.
Middle distance and full distance, obviously you have feed stations when you're on the bike.
Yeah.
Ironman events are very good because they will tell you what order the drinks and food or everything in. So
they actually did on that one as well.
Did they?
I think it was water, isotonic.
Okay, so you would know. So obviously when you're approaching a feed station on the bike, you are moving. And
you are.
If you're going fast and you panic and rush, at that point
you might not.
You could potentially miss your water bottle.
Yeah.
And you can't afford to miss your water because you need your hydration, you need your fuel, and you need that. So we went to the Goxhill.
We went down to Goxhill Marsh, didn't we?
We practiced basically taking the bottle out.
We did. So
and I stood on the side of the road.
Yeah, so you basically stood in a little lay-by, didn't you?
First one dropped it.
Holding a bottle.
Too fast.
I rode up, took the bottle out, threw the bottle on the floor, tried to grab a bottle off you, this side obviously because you're on the left. First one I was going too fast and I grabbed it and dropped it. So I instantly realised that if I'm going to do this in a race I need to slow down. Because if you miss if you miss a bottle and it's another 20 miles before the next feed station, you haven't got any water. And I purposely knew that the feed station was coming, I'd seen the sign, so I emptied my bottle ready just before it to throw it to get another one, so I had another full one. So if I'd have missed it, I'd have been screwed. So that little bit of practice. So another thing, novices, it's something to practice. It's something things you don't think about, but actually taking a bottle out, discarding it just as you come into the feed station, and taking a full one on and doing it without stopping, but doing it at a slow speed so that it works.
So I've obviously been a novice, and now
and you've done that.
and I never had anyone go through that with me. I learned from my mistakes, but I was obviously fortunate enough to pick up the bottle second time round. There was another bottle. So, but sometimes that's not the case.
No.
There's people in the way.
Yeah, somebody else grabbing a bottle or...
There's so many different things. So that's a big tip.
Yeah.
Practice the stuff that you don't think you've got to practice.
Yeah, so that was two things really. Obviously the swim exit thing, which helped me. The training with the bottle.
Yeah.
That helped.
Yeah.
Obviously because I'd had the issue with the punctures the week before, I actually took a spare tube. So I had 2 tubes. So I had 1 tube and gas canisters in the kit on the back of my seat, and then I taped another tube and gas canister to my crossbar behind my nutrition bag, just in case. Luckily, I didn't need any of them. So that was all good. So the run was tough. I felt it was tough. It was nice to get onto the last lap. It's nice to see your family there, especially your granddaughters, with a banner that says "Go Grandad" on it. That really cheered me up. And then so the bloke who was running alongside me was laughing his head off when he saw it said "Go Grandad." So thanks, kids, for that. That was great. But it was good. Yeah, Chris and his family came up, didn't they? So Chris managed to drag his kids out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning to get there for the swim.
Swim start.
Yeah. It was a nice bit of support. Nice to get it done. And that was last weekend. Now basically, I've been tired all week.
You can't be disheartened by that run.
Oh no, I'm not. It was 2 hours. It was 2 hours 9 minutes.
What was your goal time?
My goal time was I said I wanted to be under 6.5 hours.
Okay.
Secretly, I wanted to be under 6 hours, but you never secretly tell anyone, do you? And I did 5:48. 5:48. So
for your first half.
For my first, it's not a half.
Sorry.
It's a middle distance. Oh, it is a half. The Lakesman half. Yeah, it's not a numbers. You can't call it by the numbers because the M people own that phrase. You're not allowed to speak it. So my first one, I'll probably have expected it to be 2 hours or just under 2 hours for the run, but I just couldn't get my legs going. It was just one of those days. Sometimes you can run, sometimes you can't, and I just couldn't get going. So
it wasn't the easiest of run courses either, was it? And there was a lot of out and backs, there was a lot
yeah,
of
a lot of dead
running.
turns. There was
You had
how many
steps to run up and down.
Yeah, steps to go up and down. I think there was there 2 or 3 dead turns on the out and backs.
The laps are good,
yeah,
but you had a lot of dead turns,
Yeah.
and you don't. It's getting going again and momentum. There's a lot of different. You were off road for certain sections.
yeah. There was a bit of nice bit of off road stuff.
Yeah,
But it was a good event. Nice to. Obviously, we like the Lake District anyway, so to go and do an event in the Lake District was good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's funny how it's always been one of the events that I've always wanted to do, and never really been in the position to be able to do it.
Well,
we made it work this year, didn't we, babe?
Yeah, we did. It just naturally got planned out.
Did it?
Well, it did, but I mean, I knew I was going to do Brig Sprint in April. That was going to be my first one, and then we knew that I had to pick something.
Yeah.
With enough time before Wales in September.
Sacrificed our time in the Isle of Man for the CT.
It had to be sort of, because I did look at doing the Steelman, but with it being at the beginning of August, I thought, if there's anything that I've really majorly overlooked and I need to train a lot more for, am I going to have enough time in 4 weeks or less? Because really, it's going to be a week of recovery, 2 or 3 weeks training, then a week of tapering. So it's
the
probably
Steelman's a good, cheap and
another good event, but
good
it just
event
fell
to
at the
do,
wrong
but-
time. So that's why the Lakesman was the ideal one to do, because I've still now got plenty of time to work on stuff for Wales.
Yeah.
Um,
You should be very proud of your
yeah, I'm really happy.
Well done.
Yeah, that's why I've got the medal on my chair and I've got.
Will you
my
be sleeping in your t-shirt
shirt on.
tonight?
No, I won't be sleeping in it. I might wear it out to the pub tomorrow, but I won't sleep in it tonight. Yeah, so that was last weekend, wasn't it? So training wise, then, what have you been doing? Training wise.
Nothing.
Right, so that's enough of that then. Why have you not been doing any training? Tell all the viewers and listeners why.
So I hurt my back
You did, didn't you?
doing deadlifts in the gym. Yep. So yes, I went into the gym. Everything was going okay. I'd done everything right. I'd warmed up. And I was probably second, maybe third set into my deadlifts and my back went. So
Not good.
no, it wasn't good. I wasn't in a good place.
No, you were in pain for a few days, weren't you?
Yeah. Fortunately rescued by my parents, who gave me a nice hot bath to start with, and then I literally had 2 days at home.
Yeah.
Could barely just walk, couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah, a bit difficult obviously
You've been working away.
I'm working away, so I'm not at home, so you were on your own, so that was a bit awkward. But
So yeah, I was in tears mentally to start with. I was obviously thinking, hell,
yeah, is it something serious? Because you don't know, do you?
panicking a little bit, but I managed to get in to see Nick for a massage that day, bless her, thank you Nick, who helped to just alleviate any initial
Fears.
that actually it was more muscular. I hadn't really done anything to my
Yeah, no
discs
long
or
term damage.
long-term damage. Fingers crossed. So that was I've probably had 3 weeks now of hardly doing anything. So like the Latesman recce weekend, I just went for a long walk, which was probably a bit more of a challenge than I anticipated.
Yeah.
9 miles, spasms, everything. Still not getting out of bed properly.
You did the swim. You did the
swim.
water swim.
No legs, just purely arm
use
work.
your arms. Yeah.
So I'm just building my muscles up on my upper body. And fingers crossed, I'm very disciplined. So every morning, every night, I have been doing all of my exercises. And this week, I have run. I did a run in the Lake District last weekend.
You did?
5k, woohoo,
Yeah.
continuous. I've been running off-road.
Just say, you've been running off-road. Why have you been running off-road?
It's easier on my legs, it's softer impact, and the Baysgarth Park long grass is forcing me to pull my knees up.
Pick your knees up.
So we're getting the activation going in my glutes and my back.
Yeah.
So that's a big help. And I've been in like so many minutes on running, so many off. Coach has been telling me what to do. I've been sticking to the plan like glue. Been good. Been a very good girl. Mentally, it's not been easy.
No, a bit tough for the first week, probably.
Yeah. I've accepted it and I've realised that it's probably forced rest. Looking back now, I did Wales, had a bit of a break, did my training, went to Lanzarote, went straight into tri-camp, came straight out of tri-camp, did Manchester Marathon and to be honest, you were in a bit of pain after Manchester Marathon. Yeah. And that was... my body was just... That was probably the time where... Yeah, I was experiencing stuff on my body, feet, legs, hips, everything was just not... Right. I've never had it. It's weird. And then just a few weeks, and I think I realised that I was ready for a rest. So as much as it happened and it wasn't very good, I wasn't in a very good place, I've accepted it. Yeah. I was pretty good. Yeah. And you know what? I kind of got quite used to it, to be honest with you. Yeah. It's been nice in a way. And now you're out the other side of it. Yeah. Not fully. It's helped you doing what you're doing because it's taken my head away from it. Yeah. So you've been able to support you a little bit more on what you've been doing and the recce, rescuing you from the side of the road because otherwise I don't really know how you'd have got home. No. No, I don't either, actually, because there was no buses. I was actually, while I was waiting for you, I was thinking, I've seen a bus go past, so I'm going to be screwed here if you don't come and pick me up. So it was nice that you've managed to get it under your belt, and I've actually been able to support you. Yeah, it was nice to go to the Ullswater thing. It was nice with a group of us to go. No pressure. Just to go, do the swim. Yeah. So basically everyone treated it as a training swim. Yeah. Went and did it as a training swim. We all had a night out. You know, it's not all train all the time. No, it's a hobby. You can enjoy yourself. So we all went out and had a drink and then did the swim the next day. Mm. So yeah, it's nice to just have a little bit of a social event as well, isn't it, really? So I'm kind of excited now after this week. I've ticked off some big steps this week. Tomorrow, 50-mile time trial. So you're going to Cambridge tomorrow? Going to Cambridge tomorrow to do a 50-mile time trial. Quite openly, honestly, I'm not going to be anywhere near where I would have anticipated or wanted to have been with it, with my goals, but I'm just going to go do it. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I've never done one before, so it is what it is. So head down 50 miles. Yeah. Nice. New hydration bottle fitted to your bike. Yeah. Which you've done as well. A bit of bike maintenance this week. Yeah. Maybe have to have a Beryl's bike maintenance feature on next one. Yes, because I know how to repair punches and carry the right... Yeah, very good at all that stuff. I carry the right equipment. You do. It's me that doesn't carry the right equipment. Mm. Lessons. But it's all learning. Yeah, We've all been there. It is. So your training's been a bit thin over the last few weeks. But I'm 17 weeks away from October. Yeah. And I know that now, if I do this right and get my back right in the best way possible, then I know I can put the block in that I need to do. Yeah. And if I didn't do it properly... Yeah, and that's what it's all about. You had to have the rest because there's no point rushing back and hurting yourself again because you just it's just another setback. Yeah. So you've done it the right way. Yeah. Mentally, like you said, it was a little bit tough, but you had to just accept that you needed a rest, and that's what you had to have. And I think that's the hardest thing. Like I've always said, like friends that we were all training together, injuries do happen. Yeah. We're all human. Things do happen, and they're out of our control. And I remember having a conversation with somebody. I think it was Bex. She'd hurt her ankle or her leg, and I said the 10% rule. Like, you think when you go back and you're running, people, all you want to do is you think, oh, I'm losing my fitness, and you're fighting it to get it back. But if you build it properly and do it the right way, you'll be back. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Where you need to be in no time. So, and actually, you probably haven't. I went on the bike the other night. I haven't really lost any fitness.
You won't lose any fitness.
My run, yeah, but I can build that back up.
You'll soon get that back.
Yeah.
Won't you?
And swimming, it's technique.
Yeah, exactly. We know
it's
that.
time in the pool. It's not fitness. It's just technique and. Yeah. So we're okay.
Yeah. You're in a better place now than you were 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's good job you've not been at home to be lived with.
Yeah, it's a good job I've been away, really. Yeah, it's been a nightmare. So my training, obviously most of it's been done while working away, so it's a bit weird. So I have like an 18-mile bike loop that I do once a week. So I sort of have open water swimming in Rutland Water on a Tuesday with Inspired to Try. Let's give them a little plug because they do a good job. There's like 30 people rock up every
Mary likes you, doesn't she?
Don't say that, you might watch it. I think there's about 30 people go, split into 2 groups. I'm sort of on the edge of the slow group and the fast group. I'm sort of in between. But yeah, I want to thank them because they've made an effort to help me do it, because I explained to them that obviously I'm training for an Ironman, I'm working away from home, I need to swim during the week. They've made an effort to fit me into their swimming group on a Tuesday night, which I do really appreciate. And like I've already said, it's not, you don't just rock up and get in and swim around some boys. It's a properly structured session for an hour every Tuesday. Learning a lot of stuff that you wouldn't even think about in open water. Drafting, all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to give all the secrets away. If you live in the Rutland area and you want to know more, get in touch with Inspired to Try. That's all I'm going to say. But it is worth it. I think it's a 12-week course. Unfortunately,
don't get that.
I missed the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But well worth it, and I'm learning a lot, and it's really good.
So thank you to your work for sending you to...
so thanks for sending me down to Rutland, because it's helped quite a bit. And I've got a nice, as well, in preparation for Wales, I've got a nice little run route, which is about 7 miles, quite hilly. So that's quite good as well. So it's quite a nice up and down run route, 7-mile loop. So that's quite useful as well. So yeah, it's actually easier to get the training done rather than me having to drive home and then do the training, because by the time I got home I wouldn't want to do it.
It's working well for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. So training's been going all right for me. I suppose that now leads us on to the next section of the podcast.
Yeah, so we've had a few questions, and we said today, or during this episode, we would discuss nutrition, really.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we thought we would go through. More so from you doing the Lakesman. That was, like you said to me, that was one of the biggest things that you learned. And it's one of your biggest things that you're learning throughout the whole...
It's a constant thing, because sometimes you think some things work, and you think, that's what I'm going to use, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work, and it sort of constantly changes, and you keep taking things out and adding bits in. And I thought I was sorted with it. I knew what I was going to do, and then I really struggled to take food on the bike on the Lakesman, because obviously when you're on a training, if you're on a social ride out, you're not pushing. When you're on your TT bike and you're pushing as hard as you can, I could. It wasn't difficult getting the food and getting it in my mouth. I was just struggling to get it down. Even though it was only small bits of flapjack at a time, I was just struggling to eat it. But
you're a racer as well, so
carb drinks and electrolytes and energy drinks, everything all mixed into one, is a winner for me, because there's no effort. You just drink it.
So you've learned quite a lot.
So that is now where I'm going to go. I'm going to leave the food bit. I might have a few magic beans for a bit of sugar, because we all like magic beans. But I'm going to try going down the route of sticking with the drinks, because I think that's a lot easier for me to do. And I know that if I've got to do... Right, here's a question. So, how much fuel would you recommend, or would you carry with you? I know obviously at feed stations you're going to swap bottles and all that kind of stuff, but if you were doing an Ironman, what would you recommend for the amount of fuel? What would you need for the bike leg?
So,
and obviously to prepare you then to go onto the run, so that you've got
Yeah.
enough to get you onto the run.
So there is a rough calculation that people use, and you can find it out online,
Well, I'm asking you.
as to how much you need. But the general rule of thumb, they say like 90 grams of carb-ish per hour.
90 grams of carbs per hour.
Round about then, depending on you and your body weight
Yeah.
and everything else. It's all very... Everyone's very
so you
different.
can do a calculation based on
Yeah.
your size and...
So, depending on what sort of size you are and how much you need, but obviously you've got to make sure that you eat
You've got to keep
every
eating.
half an hour.
Yeah.
So
I know you've said to me before, make sure you eat every half an hour.
Yeah, so I don't know if we did it, but I've got an alert on my phone,
do have
on my
one, yeah.
watch, to say every 30 minutes, if you've not drank and eaten that time, drink and eat, drink and eat.
Yeah.
Constantly drink and eat. And I think that's one of the biggest things that anyone can learn that is going to go and do long distance, anything.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be
fuel.
triathlon, it'd just be long distance bike riding, could
Yeah.
be whatever, couldn't it? It could
Yeah.
be any kind of long distance
And
sport.
the rule is that on, especially like the biking, is that you learn to basically the term bonk. So you...
Yeah, because I heard Gemma talking about that when we were doing Tour of the Peak, and she kept saying bonk, and I was a bit like thinking,
Your cycling wife.
it's my cycling wife, and I was thinking, what does she mean? Bonk.
So, and you had the jelly beans, didn't you, or the jelly babies?
Yes, I did.
And she was like, couldn't communicate, but she put her hand out.
She did, like a relay. She was cycling along with her arm out, and I put some jelly babies in her hand, and yeah.
But that is the point of learning. So you can do it two ways. You can completely go without fuel to learn how long you can go for, and then see what you need and see what makes it work. We've all been rescued by Mars bars and Coca-Cola from shops and stuff because you've run out. And but when it comes to racing, it needs to be right for you.
Yeah.
So because I personally have some stomach distress sometimes, especially like taking gels.
Yeah.
That I know they upset my stomach. So
so they're out.
Yeah, so they're out for me. I can use them on the run towards the end. So like I'll have flapjack, saurines. Just recently found some new gels and things that I like. And I do have carb drinks as well. Say like we were sharing carb drinks before. I can cope with the crap tasting one, but you don't really like that, do you?
I don't like them. I need it to, if I'm drinking it, I need it to taste half decent. Otherwise, I struggle to drink it.
I'm taking that one on for the salt.
Yeah.
For me to help me on the.
But
run.
the ones that I was using at the Lakesman. I've got everything in. So they've got carbs in. They've got electrolytes in, so everything, and their energy drink as well. They've got everything in them. I'm not going to say what brand they are because there's no sponsorship involved. So, but it's got a number 5 in it if you want to send me some free ones. But I use them. I really like them.
Yeah.
And everybody likes different stuff. But I find them quite nice to drink, and I can drink them quite quickly. I don't find them sickly or anything like that. I can get them down quite easily. So that was the reason why I used them, because the ones that we were using didn't really have a very nice taste, and it was a bit, horrible. So, so it's a constant learning thing.
It's trial and error.
Because it's like the run. So on the run, I had 2 gels. I whacked a gel down when I came in off the bike before I went out on the run.
Yeah.
So I basically still had it in my hand. I was still finishing it off as I was running out of transition.
Yeah.
So I had a gel, and then I had another one in the pocket of my tri-suit, which I thought, right, I've got a backup one. I feel all right. Even though my legs were dead, I felt all right.
Do you think that you maybe could have had another one on the run?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh no, I did have 2.
Yeah.
I had the second one after probably about 9 miles. 9 miles, I think. I probably thought, do you know what, I'm going to have the other gel. I don't think it was lack of energy, because I felt all right at the end. I wasn't shot. I think it was just the issue that I just couldn't pick my legs up. But so I think it worked for that distance. I did eat some flapjack, but not a lot. The drinks definitely worked for me. And those nice little mint jelly chews from PH. They're quite good. I like them. They're easy to get down. They're quite nice. So they were alright, but the flapjack thing just don't work. I just can't get it down while I'm pedalling.
I think the nutrition on the bike is very individual to.
Yeah, because we know people who eat all sorts of different stuff, don't we?
Peanut M&Ms.
Peanut M&Ms, certain people. Yeah, nuts, berry, fruit, all sorts of.
Dried fruit, mangoes, all sorts. But everyone's different, so.
Yeah, some people obviously rely on gels a lot. I mean, you see people out on. The amount of gels I saw on the floor that people had dropped on the bike route, where they'd obviously got a gel out to have it and they dropped it, there was loads of them. So obviously a lot of people use gels all the time in a race.
Caffeine's a good thing as well.
Yeah.
You're okay with caffeine, aren't you?
Yeah, well, caffeine, you get caffeine in gels, don't you?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So caffeine's an interesting thing as well from a nutrition point of view. So it's good. I think that when you need a boost and you are flagging, you'll notice like on Ironmans or Lakesmans, I don't think they had them on Lakesmans, but some of them had Red Bull.
Yeah.
Or some sort of energy drink.
Well, they only had isotonic, like sports drink.
So, but if you don't train with it, you don't know how your body's going to react with it.
No, exactly. So, that's another good point, which we've all, a lot of us have talked about before.
Yeah.
Is just because it's there on race day and you think, oh, there's Red Bull or there's whatever. If you don't train with it, don't have it because it might make you ill.
I had it on Wales.
Yeah.
On Red Bull, and I was on last lap.
Yeah. So I was like, last 10K.
It doesn't really matter now.
Yeah.
Come on,
Just need a bit of a kick.
I needed a boost and a bit of a kick. I got that far and thought, right, okay, I'll take some Red Bull. Whereas some people will train with it all the time. They know how to. They know how to work. They know how the body copes with it.
Yeah, that's big important thing in it. Knowing. Yeah. Not going. Oh, I've trained with that stuff for the last 3 months, but just because they've got that, as well that.
When you're doing an Ironman, you've had your breakfast, you've been swimming for, let's say, an hour and a half. You then got your transition. You're then on the bike for another good 6-7 hours-ish. Yeah. And then you're doing a marathon, so 4.5-ish hours. Yeah. So depending on how fast you are. See, the only meal you're having is breakfast.
Yeah.
So you're missing your dinner.
Yeah, so the rest of it you're making up for in like 12, 13 hours.
Yeah, and you're still expending all of that energy as well. So it's the importance of...
It's got to be the right stuff.
Yeah, and what you eat on the week up to it.
Yeah.
So the analogy is that my coach always told me that you don't put standard fuel in a Formula 1 car, you put premium fuel. So the quality of the food and everything that you do has to be good.
Yeah. It's all part of your race preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah, fueling your engine.
So if you can't expect to have, I'm trying to explain without swearing, to be honest with you, without having putting shit in, getting shit out. So put quality.
Well, if you have too many gels, you probably get shit out.
And that's probably one of those things where you realise, and it's very, very quite a common thing of runners' trots and stuff. So overdo it on the gels, and you might find yourself having to dive to go to the toilet every now and then. So it's just learning. You've got to try everything, and it's huge for you because
I don't know what works.
You don't.
No.
You're still learning.
I know Guinness works the night before.
You had 5 pints of Guinness before Pontefract.
That was Pontefract 10K. That was a while ago. I only had 2 pints before the Lakesman. Lakesman half, obviously. Yes, I only had 2.
And all joking aside, you've got iron in there.
Yeah, but
so as much as the alcohol's in there, you've still got good.
Yeah, you need something to just. You still got to enjoy yourself and relax and what have you. 2 pints of Guinness is not going to kill me.
No.
And not having those 2 pints of Guinness wouldn't have made me pick my legs up and run any quicker, would it? So yeah, we're not, we're all competitive, but I know I'm not going there to win. I'm just going there to do the best I can do.
But we've done small tweaks to your diet as well. So one thing that is very different is like breakfasts.
Yeah.
So you would never eat breakfast.
No, I would
until 10ish. Maybe?
Yeah, well, I still don't have it till probably like 9:30. I don't have it first. I can't eat because I get up early to go to work. I can't have breakfast first thing in the morning. I just don't want to eat. So I probably don't have it till 9:30. So if I have to do early morning training session, which is very rare, because I don't train early in the morning because I'm up at sort of just after 5 to go get
That's
ready
one
to
thing
go
that's
to work.
quite interesting from your point of view on training is that people train twice a day, whereas
I only train once a day.
Yeah.
And the other weird thing is as well, if I go swimming at night after work. When you're racing, you swim first thing in the morning.
So
even that is slightly. I probably need to do some stuff just to get used to
early morning starts.
And it didn't bother me last weekend. The swim was all right, the bike was fine, I was ready. Before I did Brig Sprint, I did have to go for like a 2 mile run to wake my legs up because it was early in the morning, which is why I missed the briefing. But don't tell anyone I missed the briefing. Because I'd gone for a run to wake my legs up because I thought I would get out of the pool, I won't be able to walk, I'll be like still asleep. So I do all my training at night. Obviously, so I don't have the issue of having to train in the morning and eat breakfast before I train, or go and do a fasted training session, then have breakfast after. So how do you eat?
So
if you're swimming at 6 o'clock in the morning, do you eat before you swim?
Depends what I've done the night before for me. So
right.
It's a good question, that one, because I was talking to Shawnee earlier, and she actually asked me the same question.
Yeah.
So over the past years, it's probably very different for me because I'm a woman. Training fasted in the morning can be good sometimes, and sometimes it's not. So training fasted from a woman's point of view will raise your cortisol levels, so your stress levels. So it makes the whole day harder. So you are fighting fatigue a little bit more, you are constantly hungry all day, it's harder work. Now obviously when you're training full time and you go to work, it's not good because you've still got to be on the ball, you've still got to apply yourself to do your job and everything for it. So that's quite a tough learning curve. And you're also thinking you're training at night, so you're thinking you've got to train for that session, you train for the next session. So in the morning, up until probably a year ago maybe, I probably didn't realise any of this. It's just all learning, all research from books, talking to other people. But before I would do a morning training session, apart from a run, purely because you can't digest it, if you go swimming, like have a banana.
Yeah.
Or have some dried fruit.
Yeah, so just something small.
Something, I'll sometimes even just whack a protein shake down my neck.
Yeah.
After my swim.
And then have breakfast after.
And then I would eat my breakfast after my session.
Yeah.
And I'll make sure that I always eat in a 30-minute window after a session.
Yeah.
Just because I can't go any difference for that because I'll just be knackered.
Yeah.
It's how your body is different. So, but you learn all those little things and
we're all different.
Yeah. So I know something that Shawnee and I spoke about before, what to have to breakfast, but we'll always, after a swim, we'll always tuck into our overnight oats that we've prepped up from the night before, which only a few months ago you were turning your nose up, but now you can't get enough of them, can you?
I know, I have them every day. Yeah. Well, not every day, I don't have them on weekends, but I have them during the week because they're quite handy because I can make them the night before, stick them in the fridge.
So how do you make your overnight oats?
Overnight oats. So I have 60 grams of oats, I have 100 grams of almond milk or coconut milk, 50 grams of natural yoghurt, and then 1 scoop of protein powder, stir it all up. I like to have sultanas in mine, so I put a handful of sultanas and then a handful of crushed nuts on the top. And that's my breakfast. Well, I don't really have... I have fruit when I'm at home, but when I'm away, I don't...
Sometimes raspberries or blueberries.
Yeah, maybe have a bit of fruit in it if we've got it in the fridge, but I don't specifically buy it for that. But so that's my breakfast. And that keeps me going longer than you would think, actually. That keeps me going till dinner time. I know I don't train in the morning, so that's probably the reason why. But yeah, I quite enjoy it. It's quite easy to make. and you're having something that's healthy for your breakfast, which you can make the night before, and you don't have to have it hot. It's cold. You just have it in a little Tupperware pot, and that's it. So yeah, I've got used to having that.
And I think that obviously when you first started this triathlon journey, when you started running every day, one of the biggest things that people always said to you at that point in time was how much weight have you lost.
That's right. When I when Steve set me the challenge, New Year's Eve 2021 or whatever it was, to run every day in January, 30 days in January, I wanted to run every day. You only have to run a mile, blah, 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 whatever. Everyone was obsessed about, have you lost any weight? How much weight have you lost? Whatever. I actually ran for 104 days without a break. So 104 consecutive days, I lost no weight at all. I didn't lose anything because I wasn't trying to lose weight. I did it because I wanted to get fitter.
But you lost inches.
Yeah, I didn't lose weight. I lost a few inches, but not weight.
Yeah.
Because I suppose going for a 2 mile run every day is not. It's not like varying it. It's not like a bike and a run and mixing it up and just running 2 miles, and it's not really a
So
significant
then you went on
amount.
to a learning curve of just making sure how, like, start watching your calories and what you were eating and stuff.
Because
as well.
you kept saying to me, you're not eating enough.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if I eat more, I'm going to put weight on. But that's not always the case, is it?
No.
It's just eating enough
It's
calories.
what you were eating.
Because your body needs a certain amount of calories, and you are then burning some off by exercising, so you need a certain amount. And if you're not eating enough, your body then thinks it's not getting any more, so it stores all the fat and keeps the fat because it thinks you're not going to get any more food in.
So as much as when you went to start losing your weight, you actually started eating more.
I started eating more.
But it was what you were eating as well. So your eating habits improved. More just education of learning like what to eat, and you were calorie counting from that point of view as well, weren't you? So to then go in from then, and then now understanding it on a day-to-day basis of what you are doing and what you are fueling your body for. So
you can't afford not to eat. You've got to eat enough.
Yeah. So it's the importance of what you eat in the daytime before a training session and what you eat after.
Yeah.
That is the
Yeah, because you always said to me, straight after training, you need protein.
Yeah.
So whether you're a protein,
30 minutes window.
Yeah, within that window.
Yeah.
Protein shake or whatever it is, you need some protein
straight after. And then depending on the session that you've got, you can replenish your lost carbohydrates to replace the fuel in your body.
Yeah.
So it's the quality of the food that you eat. So I know that, say for example, if I'm doing a double training day, so if I'm running in the morning, biking at night, depending on the session, it could be a day where I eat carbs with every single meal.
Yeah.
So sometimes quite a good thing is like carb cycling. So if you on the days when you're not doing so much intense, you could probably drop a meal that you're not eating carbs with.
Yeah.
So just learning how to fuel your body,
when to eat certain things and when not to eat them.
Don't miss a meal.
No.
Food.
Skipping meals and starving doesn't do you any good.
No. So food. Food is fuel.
Yeah, food is fuel, kids. There you go.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Well, probably not first, but there's a lot to learn, isn't there, with nutrition.
And I think you never stop learning that there's that much science and technology that people are always evolving and developing. And you've got to try different things. There's different people out there in the markets.
It's weird. You're on about breakfast and stuff like that. Obviously, swimming, I've normally eaten quite a few hours before. But I found that quite weird last week, having my breakfast like an hour before I went swimming. It is quite...
Were you worried about it, how it was going to sit?
Well, I've noticed that, in the winter, when I go swimming to Brig, and you're doing your set, because, like I've said before, swimming, you're just following the black line down the pool, aren't you, in the pool? So you think about stuff, you start thinking about what you're going to have for your tea and all that sort of things, because what else would you think about? And then, you think about, why is that man in front of me, why won't he let me past when I keep tapping his feet? But I've noticed before that if I've had something to eat, if I've got home get home from work, get my swimming gear ready, have a quick bite, nothing much, just like, I don't know, little snack. Flapjack, something like that. Just a bit of snack because I know I'm going swimming for an hour. I get to the pool, after about 10-15 minutes swimming up and down, I start burping. And it's like, and I wonder if the people in the next lane can hear me burping, even though I'm burping underwater. It's quite weird, burping underwater. But I'm sure everyone, do you do it? Does everybody else do it? It's can't be just me. But I think, I'm burping underwater. I'm burping in the water, so I've got a bit of wind. And that's only because I've only had a small bit of flapjack. I don't know. Or maybe it's because, you know, when you're doing a set, you swim, you do so many lengths, doing drills, whatever, then you've got your drinks bottle and you have a drink, and then maybe the drink is... Not really sure. I don't know, but I find it quite weird. I'd like to know if people would like to let us know, do you burp in the pool as well? Because I certainly do, and I also wonder if other people can hear it. Because in my head it makes a noise, I think.
Well, at least if it's not a wee in the pool and doesn't turn it purple.
I can't wee while I'm swimming. I've tried that. I tried that at Ullswater because I thought I need a wee, and I thought I'm on the last lap.
So for people that don't do triathlon and watching this, maybe you got this far, that one of the tips is that when you are cold and you're in the water and you put your wetsuit on, the first tip is to have a wee.
It is.
So don't stand next to anybody who's just got in the water and wearing a wetsuit.
No, I don't.
Otherwise it'll start feeling very warm.
Yeah, so it feels warm around a lot of people when you're in the water. It's probably for a reason. Now I can do it when I'm just stood there minding my own business or just floating around treading water. I can do that, but I was actually thinking on the last lap at the Ullswater swim, I was thinking, oh, I need a pee. And I thought, right, while I'm swimming, I'm just going to relax and see if I can do one. And I couldn't do it. Because the first thing I did when I got out of the water, I got out
Need a wee.
and I had to go to the toilet and have a wee because I couldn't have one while I was swimming. So, is it easy? Can you do it? I can't do it. I thought the only way I'm going to be able to do this is just float and not use my arms. Because I was moving, I couldn't do it.
Oh, that's the attractive type.
I even did check behind me to make sure there was no one there as well, just in case I did and someone was in mid-lap.
Maybe it's the attractive talk of triathlon, but maybe it lends itself to a full conversation because it's about peeing on the bike.
It's not an attractive. Yeah. Do you pee on the bike? I don't know whether I can do that either. I'm not sure.
I've never done it.
Plenty of people do. It's, you know, what do you do? Oh, get off, go to the Portaloo, read the paper, whatever. Or do you pee while you're pedalling? If you want to save time, that's what you do. I mean, if you're doing it and if it's raining, that's all right because no one's going to notice. But if there's water flying off your back wheel into someone's face and you think, hang on, it's 30 degrees and it hasn't rained for a fortnight, it's like, I think that gives it away a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I've not had that happen to me.
Just give me a bit of a warning if we go out on a training ride.
I'm not going to do it. Oh God, I'll only do it in a race. I'm not going to do it on a training ride. I'll just nip behind a hedge. So, training. Again.
So from the nutrition thing, do you feel that you're in a better position now moving forward?
I've learned that the flapjacks that I really like, because I really like the flavours and they're really nice.
Just eat them as a snack because you do anyway.
Yeah, I do eat them as a snack because I can't eat them on the bike, really. So, so I think something small, sweets, maybe for a bit of sugar if I need it, something like that. But I think the carb drinks and carb and electrolyte drinks mixed together, that's what I'm going to keep going with and see how I get on with that, I think.
So I would say that that's a question to other people that do that sort of way of nutrition. Can you offer any advice to you?
Yeah, any particular drinks that you think are worth trying, that work. If you don't fuel by eating food, if you just drink, is there anything that's better? But yeah, I like the ones that I'm using at the minute. I quite like, and they seem to work. So I'm all right. I'm going to try other stuff, but I know that I've got them if I need them. So now it's time for play the jingle.
Scoey's second-hand bargains.
You love this bit now, don't you?
I do.
He's got his own jingle. What are they?
Well, these are this month's second-hand bargain. You know, we like a bargain, so I needed a pair of triathlon shoes. I'd just like to say that the other pair of cycling shoes I've got were also second-hand. You don't need to buy new. I bought a second-hand pair of cycling shoes, the first pair I bought, and I thought they're a bit awkward for a triathlon because obviously they're ratchet and everything to shut them. These nice city ones, just one Velcro strap and they're off.
Kid-proof.
Yeah, well, idiot-proof. I didn't particularly pick them because of the colour. I picked them because they were my size and they were cheap. You probably can't see, but they are virtually brand new. I've done 2 races in them. They're brand new cleats on when I got them. I don't even know how much they are new, but I'm guessing they're fairly expensive. These were a second-hand bargain of £65. I challenge you to get any cheaper in as good condition.
I'd just like to say...
What?
I've got the same shoes as you.
Have you got... Yeah, but in a different colour.
But I bought them brand new.
And I can remember how much yours were?
No, we don't want to talk about it.
Let's not talk about
that. One thing that I will say when we started doing cycling was the brand.
Yeah.
So you wear them... When I first started cycling, I didn't know anything about it. And you wore them as your motorbike boots. And you said they were the best quality.
That's why you got them, yeah, because they were good quality.
So...
But they are good quality shoes.
They happened to make them in cycling shoes. So you bought me a pair for Christmas one. I did. So you stuck to them.
Yeah.
Ever since. So these ones here, you probably don't understand it now, but triathlon. So this will, if you were to learn, it's up to you, if you were to learn how to start your bike with your shoes
on the pedals,
yeah, you will utilise this beauty on the side here with an elastic band,
yeah,
and you will connect that elastic band to the back of your bike
to keep your
crank up. Yeah, and then obviously easy access. Yeah. You're able to
I can get on. We're just doing one strap.
Holes so they breathe.
Yeah.
When your feet are wet, any water in there will drain out nicely and the air will get through. Great idea unless it's cold.
Yeah.
So great shoes.
Yeah. And cheap.
Yeah. Fairly light, but obviously if it's cold, you will feel it.
Yeah. I won't want to wear them if it wants summer. Yeah. I'll be honest.
If you suffer from cold, then you can get toe covers or you just put some socks on.
But yeah, so that's this month's second-hand bargains. A nice, cheap pair of expensive cycling shoes.
Scoey's second-hand bargains.
So that, I think, about covers it for this episode. We've not really got... Obviously, you've got the Cambridge time trial coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
I've got no events booked. Obviously, until Ironman Wales in September the 3rd, which is D-Day.
10-ish weeks.
10-ish weeks away now, which is getting a little bit frightening. Because I thought it was a long time away and all of a sudden it's creeping up quickly.
So we've got a recce in a few weeks when we're going
We're going down in the middle of July, aren't we?
Yeah.
I believe it's the same weekend as the Swansea 70.3 Ironman. So we're going to go to Tenby. Unfortunately, we couldn't do the long course weekend at Tenby because I'm away that weekend doing something else, not sport related. Yeah, so it'd be nice to do that, but then again, it'll be nice just to go down on our own, go and have a lap of the swim.
So Friday night we'll go down on Friday.
Yeah.
So obviously, from my experience, I would be able to show you how it all works, which is quite a blessing, really. So fingers crossed, swim Friday night.
Yeah, swim Friday night, lap of the bike Saturday.
Bike Saturday.
Yeah.
Run Sunday,
and then
come home.
And then come home via Swansea.
To support our teammates.
Yeah, to cheer on some teammates who are racing at Swansea on the way back. So for the next few weeks with no events, I'm going to be in my Ironman block of training.
Yeah.
So everything now building towards 10B.
So your coach, Steve, at the minute we're making sure that you're fully recovered after this week. So you've had a pretty easy week this week.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I've had an easy week, but yeah.
Yeah, but you've.
I nearly got hit by lightning twice last night when I was out running.
So you'll have had an easy recovery week this week.
Yeah.
To let your body recover and repair itself, and then you will then start to build. So you'll have certain like blocks, I guess it's called, in your training. Steve will work that out and how things go. And then before Ironman Wales, he'll drop you off onto taper. So you've got a week away on your motorbike, but you're not going to lose anything. You're
to be honest,
your motorbike around.
To be honest, I've got one more week, then I've got a week off, but I'll be chucking a bike round in the Alps for 8 days. But I think it'll be nice to just have a rest.
Mm.
And just, because I've noticed this week my legs are tired and I've struggled to run. It's been hard work and it's been uncomfortable. So I think a week's rest is not going to do me any harm. If I look at where I am now fitness-wise to where I was this time last year, it's completely different. I'm on the right track. So if I have a week's rest, I'm not going to panic. I might take my trainers with me and just do the odd little cheeky 5k before breakfast or something. But yeah, so that I'll not be doing a lot for 8 or 9 days. And then obviously be back into it when I come back. I'll be into big lumps of training then. Long bikes, long runs, long swims.
So I think like for you, where you're at is that you've ticked off some big bankable moments. So you've been out there, you've swam the distance.
Yeah.
You've biked
the
distance. Probably covered the bike distance with the same amount of climbing as Ironman Wales, if not slightly more. And then I think that when you go to do the recce, you'll realise that actually the course, Tower of the Peak, is probably harder. So you've put yourself in an uncomfortable situation.
I'd just like to say at this point, Tower of the Peak, I'm never going to do it again. It was the hardest day out. I think it varied from 12.5 to 13,500 feet of climbing in 116 miles. And it was a really nice day and there was some lovely scenery, but there is no way on God's earth I'm doing that again.
Okay.
No way. And I kept telling myself that on the last 10, 15 miles. Don't let me do this again. I've got the medal. Should have brought that down as well. I've got the medal. I don't need another one.
No.
No.
So you've done that. You've ticked off your second triathlon.
Yeah.
And then,
So that's it now, yeah. So it's training. So the next time we get together and do another podcast, obviously we'll be right bang in the middle of hard training then.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be testing because there's going to be a lot of training to fit in, and weekends are going to be long bike, long run, long swim every weekend. So
as long as you make time to go out for tea.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly, and cheeky can now and again. So yeah, so that about wraps it up, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, send them in, and we'll try and answer them. Who knows? We might even have a guest on the next one. We'll see what we can do, but.
Or if anyone's got a request of who they would like the guest to be, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
just putting ideas out there.
We can't get everyone, obviously. We're a bit limited. Joe Skipper's probably a little bit out of our league at the minute, as is Lucy Charles Barkley. But we'll, if anyone's got any suggestions, give it a shot.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.